Okay, guys, today we're going to reveal to my dad that after 6 kids, my wife and I are having twins. His reaction was definitely not what I expected. That guy, I swear. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's go. Okay, so hypothetically, if one had 6, hypothetically, purely hypothetical.
Of course, hypothetically.
If one had 6 kids and then found out they were having twins, that would be an okay thing to do?
To have the twins?
No,
That would be fine to go ahead and have the twins, yeah.
if they found out they were having twins, that it would be okay for the food truck.
No.
Not so.
I still wouldn't put them all at one trough and just let them go at it. So. I know that's.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm not sure I do, Mitch, but.
So you know I have 6 kids.
I know you have 6 kids.
And Katie's pregnant.
And you have one coming. Not twins, hopefully.
What? There you go. That's what I wanted. Welcome back to another Hey Pops financial video.
I'm Pops.
I'm not Pops. Mitch here. Today I want to gain access to some of Pops's vast knowledge, or however vast, I don't know, Mom might have a different opinion.
Vast may be the wrong word,
but I want to ask him a series of questions to get his input, and hopefully you have some of these same questions.
Fair enough.
All right. So if you're starting, or if you're starting in your 30s, just born a 30-year-old person. If you're in your 30s, like myself, how do you decide whether to save for your retirement versus saving for your kids' college?
That's a good question, Mitch. I'm a little different than most people today because my approach to saving for my kids' college is different from most. I'm one that I don't feel like it's my responsibility to pay for my kids' college.
Gasp.
I know that and every time I see it portrayed in a show or talk to people that are struggling to save for their kids' college, I think, why? And I'll clarify that in a moment. But and I say why because where is it written that parents have to pay for their children's college? I did loan some of my kids a little money for tuition or whatever as they went through college. And I'll tell you, since I have 7 children and all have been married at one time or another, at one time we had 8, our children and in-laws, 8 kids in college, all at different institutions at the same time. How did we do that? Well, there's no way I had enough money to pay for that. So some of them went into the military and had the military pay. Some of them got jobs with companies that reimburse for college education.
Or apprenticeships.
Or apprenticeships. Yeah. Some of them got scholarships. There are a lot of different ways to pay for a college or college level education other than mom and dad paying for it. Some of them went to community college and lived at home rather than going off to a 4-year college out of state. I mean, there's just all sorts of options. So the question's a good question, but I think it's a little unfair because in my estimation, it's saving for retirement versus saving for education is one and the same. Saving is the important thing. Whether you're 30 or 40 or 50, saving is the important thing. So start a savings account. Take advantage of tax laws in relation to IRAs and that sort of thing. Yeah. Incidentally, I prefer Roth IRAs versus regular IRAs, and that's a topic for another discussion. But those laws are beneficial and encourage us to save.
Yeah.
Take advantage of a 401k at your job where your employer may match. They're basically giving you free money, and you're foolish if you turn that down. So if they're going to match, say, up to 4% of your income, then you put 4% or more of your income into the 401k, and they match it dollar for dollar.
But at least
what they match.
Sorry, just to kind of play off of what you're saying, though, I think that what that taught us, what you're describing of, we just grew up with the expectation, and you taught us while we were going through, hey, this is how you save. Everything that I remember earning, we gave this much, we paid tithing. I think that was a very important thing for us to learn. Charity, it was also another thing that we contributed to.
Right.
And then at the end is we would put some away to save, and then we would have some to spend. I remember having a high yield savings account at what, 12, 13,
Yep.
and I think that that kind of played into this later stage of my life where it's like if I wanted to go to college, if I wanted to get a certificate or an apprenticeship or whatever it was, having it fall on me, it wasn't this feeling of entitlement, like, oh man, my
Right.
life's so horrible. It was, no, I have control over this. I'm going to learn the skills necessary, the mindset that I need to be able to achieve it myself. And then I also value it more because I had to work to get it. It reminds me of the interview that we had with Matt and Donna Riggs.
Uh-huh.
And that's how they talked about it as well, which we'll put a link in that later. They're fantastic. Matt and Donna
That
are
was a great interview.
absolutely, absolutely amazing. But that's what it reminds me of.
And that's a great point. And I want to emphasize a couple of things that you said in that. Number one is taking responsibility for your own education or your own retirement, whichever way you look at it. What you do is your responsibility. It's not mine. It's not your children's. It's not your boss's. It's not anybody else's responsibility. It's yours. If you take responsibility for your education, not only will you get more out of that education, you'll do it in less time. And let me
Interesting.
give you an example. I had a roommate in college. I always got very good grades in college. I ended up as valedictorian of my particular college at the university. Not because I was really smart, but because I
Definitely not
definitely
that.
not that. It was my good looks actually that got it. Um,
Oh,
but I worked real hard at it, and I scheduled my time such that I could study and keep up with my studies. I had a roommate whose dad he developed these strip centers,
what?
shopping centers.
Oh, you said what centers?
No, don't take that wrong. But he developed and owned all these commercial properties and had a lot of money. And so he paid for his son's education. The kid, of course, took a full bevy of classes every semester, rarely attended class.
Bevy, great
One
word.
day he asked me, he said, when his grades came out or something, and he said, how do you get good grades? And my first thought was, well, it does help to attend class, right? Go figure. I mean, I thought,
Duh.
yeah, how do you not know that? But that was the way he grew up. Daddy paid for everything, and so why, put the hard work in, because he could stay at school for 10 years to get a 4-year degree because dad was going to pay for it anyway.
You got skin in the game.
You got skin in the game if you take control. So that's an important part of whatever you're saving for, whether it's for retirement, which everybody should save for because it's going to come sooner or later, whether it's for education, if you want to help your kids with their education, if it's for a vacation you want, whatever you're going to save for, take responsibility because nobody's going to feel that responsibility like you do.
I take the same approach when feeding my kids. I just say, hey, I'm not gonna give you any food. You guys have to figure it out yourselves.
Go scrounge it out
Save
of the.
saves on money, and I could devote more time and energy to other things.
And
Should I
so and
just
so they're out in the desert in Arizona trying to scrounge up food.
spearing all
Yeah,
the Gila
yeah,
monsters?
right.
It's I'm not neglecting my children. I'm raising independent children.
Okay.
Okay. Next question. What is the craziest or the dumbest thing you've done to save money? Say dumbest, like silly or goofy, but like pulling the 2-ply toilet paper apart so that you can have extra toilet paper. 7 kids is a lot of kids.
That it is. It
So
is.
what was something that you can think of?
Well, interesting you say stretching the toilet paper. I didn't necessarily do that, but we had a couple grandkids with us just a couple weeks ago, and every time they washed their hands at the sink, they pulled off a paper towel. We had a actual cloth towel right there hanging beside the sink, and I had to remind them those paper towels cost money. I'm a cheapskate. I'll warn you up front because I grew up poor and that's the way I was. But I said you can dry your hands on this towel next to the sink and not use paper towels. So I mean there are little things like that that I just grew up doing that because we didn't have a whole lot of money. That's just the way we had to live. And we're in such a throwaway world today
Yeah.
that if we're not careful, we'll use things and throw them away right and left when we could be saving a lot of those things, whether it's clothing.
Yeah.
that you can pass down to the next kid, or a cousin gives it to you, or
Which
you can just use it until it wears out.
we do that one quite a bit.
Except for unless or except for going through your closet every month and I'm tired of this, tired of this, tired of this, get rid of it and buy new stuff.
Oh, that actually reminds me of another video that we've done. It was 9 things that you get from growing up poor. We'll put a link
Exactly.
to that one in, I don't know where it might be, if it's on the screen, where to click on it. But we'll make sure that you have that video because that is a good one.
Yep.
All right, now this is a very serious question. I looked it up on Google and I said, how serious is a bank robbery? And it said very serious. So this is a very serious question. So if you
You haven't
rob,
robbed a bank, have you?
well, this is my question.
Oh.
So if you robbed a bank, who would you rob it with and why? This is a very serious question. Google said it's
If
very
Google
serious.
said it's serious, I guess it's serious.
Very
right?
serious.
If it's on the internet, it's true. um, Probably my wife.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because we're gonna get caught. I mean, if you try to rob a bank, you're gonna get caught. And if one of us is gonna go away, we might as well both go away. So,
I don't think they're gonna put you in the same.
oh, they don't?
No, I don't
Oh.
think they have like suites for
Yeah, shoot.
crime couples.
Well, I may think about twice then about robbing a bank, but
Yeah.
no, that's probably who I'd pick.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. In the interest of saving money, what is the criteria? Or is it criterion for single? Anyway, what is the criteria for choosing which kid to sell?
Wow. When my kids were growing up, they had a contest to see who was dad's favorite.
Hmm.
And it evolved into I had 7 kids, so I told them they had to take turns because no, I didn't want to give one of them all of the credit for being favorite all the time. And one of the rules, incidentally, that we also developed as we went along was that if they asked to be my favorite that
I
day,
wrote that. I wrote that down.
right, they automatically were disqualified. So we had a lot of fun with that. We still do, actually. My kids are 30 to 40 years old, somewhere in that range, but we still joke about that all the time. But so the other side of that, of course, is who's the least favorite, which they didn't take turns with that. But so in answer to your question, I guess it would depend on the day.
Depending on the day. Hey, but I mean, if you're going to get rid of one, you might as well get something for it. So I don't know if, just firing them versus
Selling them off.
selling them off. I think maybe that's
Yeah, I don't want to be promoting human trafficking or
oh
something
yeah,
here, but yeah.
maybe we should
Yeah.
okay, next question. Actually, what you said is perfect follow-up question. So, what are acceptable reasons to leave a kid out of the will?
Ooh. It's interesting because my wife and I were just talking the other day that we need to update our trust and because I'm not 25 years old anymore.
Oh, in that case, you are very smart
I'm
and
I'm your favorite dad.
kind
Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
and yeah,
Thanks. You're out of my will.
dang it.
Uh,
I already knew that one though.
I don't know if there is a in answer to the question, seriously, I don't know if there is a good reason to write anyone out of a will. I read some of these things on the internet, or it used to be in the newspaper. We don't get newspapers anymore. So and so is remarried, and their stepchild wants some inheritance. All sorts of dumb questions that come up. And as I read those, I think, and maybe it's just my naivety, but most of them are selfish questions, and I'm not sure there is a good answer. So even if my kids disappoint me some way or do something that I don't agree with,
Even if some of them are
no,
vast disappointments.
not pointing any
Wink,
fingers,
wink,
but
wink. I don't know why my head's twitching this way.
yeah, right. But I'm not sure there would be anything that would make them qualify to be written out of an inheritance. I'm not sure that's fair. Maybe maybe it has to do with the fact that I don't have $20 million I'm going to divide up. I don't know, but
Quarter for you.
yeah.
Quarter for you.
When my folks, when they passed away,
Give you a loaf of bread from the bakery.
actually I got, yeah, my father was a baker, and I actually missed not having at least some of the bags from the bakery because it had
pound of flour.
Bates Bakery logo on it. They were cool just to remember that by. But I inherited a pocket knife, My dad always carried a pocket knife. He had several different ones, and so we all got to choose one. And I inherited a set of balance scales from his bakery. And I thought, if I don't care if I inherit anything else from them. And they didn't have a whole lot else, but luckily they had a small life insurance policy that paid for their final expenses, burial and everything. But I'm not sure that I want to. I wanted anything else from my parents, and in many times would prefer that my kids not even know that I have any money, so
I
I don't.
didn't know until very recently.
Yeah, I have a net worth that's in the triple digits now. So I've seen so many families torn apart by squabbles over
Mm,
money, and it's just not worth it to me.
I think that no matter what it is that you have or whatever you're going to pass down to your kids, instead of focusing on passing down valuables, pass down values.
That's right.
Because if you have the values first, what other valuables follow it are not going to destroy the family,
Right.
are not going to destroy the lives.
But without the values, the valuables will almost across the board destroy relationships.
No, I think that that's very important. All right. So here's a question I have. You got a lot of kids. Would it be okay to feed them all from a food trough to save on food?
A food trough?
You just put it out and you just bucket us. We got a big old pot of slop, and you just.
The biggest and oldest get all the food, and the youngest, weakest get nothing. But
Would you say that's acceptable?
no,
Dang it.
what what that does remind me of when I was young, we had some rules about table manners in our family. And again, I grew up in a family of 7 children. I have 7 myself. I didn't use this with my kids, but I threatened to at times. If we misbehaved at the kitchen table or the dining table during a meal, and we always tried to have dinner together, which I thought was is a great habit to be into because it keeps the family together and keeps them talking to each other. But if we misbehaved at the dinner table, used our fingers to scoop our food or whatever the case may be, we had several different rules that we had to abide by. My father would make a little pig trough, just a couple boards put together with
Thank
boards
you,
on the
Grandpa.
end, and line it with tin foil so it wouldn't leak all over the table.
Oh, well,
And he
at
would,
least it was clean.
and he would, yeah, he would feed us our dinner in that little trough, and we couldn't use any utensils for
So,
one meal.
Pop Senior says it's
Yeah,
okay.
says it's okay. So that worked out for us. Most of us had at least one experience with the little trough, but
See that I think that would backfire in my family because I think that I
they
have
would
five. I
probably
have 5 boys, 1 girl.
like
They
it.
would do it on purpose.
Yeah,
Like,
just to use
Dad,
the
where's the
trough.
trough? Okay, so hypothetically, if one had 6, hypothetically, purely
Of
hypothetical,
course,
if
hypothetically.
one had 6 kids and then found out they were having twins, that would be an okay thing to do?
To have the twins?
No, if
That
if
would be fine to go ahead and have the twins, yeah.
if they found out they were having twins, that it would be okay for the food truck.
No.
6, so not so.
I still wouldn't put them all at one trough and just let them go at it. So I know that's
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm not sure I do, Mitch, but
So I have 6 kids.
I know you have 6
And
kids
Katie's pregnant.
and you have one coming. Not twins, hopefully. You're having twins?
Yes. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's funny because yesterday, and I'm staying at Mitch's house tonight because we live out of state. Yesterday, Carrie, who's your wife? Katie said something
Depends on the day. Well, no, man, I
about
shouldn't say that.
about them, and I said,
Oh,
you're not having twins, are you?" She says, "Oh, no, 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 no."
she told me that she
She's
almost gave it away.
Yeah. I thought, holy cow, wow,
Is that crazy?
that is crazy. You're
Twins.
going from 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Oh wow.
Well, there you go. Man, I really
Wow.
had to spell it out for you. I was trying to be sneaky.
Yeah, it's sneaky.
It's sneaky.
Yeah.
No, but guys, I hope
What
you
a
enjoyed.
reveal.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah.
You gotta. So we'll cut all this out, and then you just what? There you go. That's what I wanted. Hey guys, I hope you guys had fun.
Oh.
We certainly did. I know a lot of this was kind of lighthearted, but I also hope that you guys got value from it. Please join us on the next time.
Love to have you. Thank you for your attention and for your time.
Like, subscribe. See you guys.